Hello everyone, my name is Niamh Flynn and I'm delighted to be able to spend some time speaking to you about our exciting new research project entitled Crisis Coping, Living and Learning Through COVID-19. So this research project is a collaborative project between researchers and lecturers in the School of Education at NUI Galway and researchers in the UNESCO Child and Family Research Centre, also at NUI Galway. In this information session video, I'm going to introduce you to the members of the research team. I'll also provide you with an overview of the entire project. It is quite a large-scale project involving multiple studies, and it's being conducted over an 18-month period. I will specifically focus on the current study, namely the study that you have very kindly agreed to participate in. And I'll give you a sense of what to expect for your participation in the study and what it will involve in general. Before the research starts, we do need a number of completed documents from you, and thank you to those of you who have been able to find the time to submit the completed parent or guardian consent form and the completed young person assent form. So I'll speak a little bit more about the importance of these in a few minutes' time. I'll also walk you through the three main stages of the study, which include the baseline survey for both parents or guardians and young people, the real-time data collection stage for young people, and the exit survey, again, just for young people. This slide presents you with images of some of the members of the research team. The research project has been headed up by Professor Pat Dolan and Professor Jerry McRourke, and the other members of the team include myself and also Dr. Cormac Forkin, Dr. Elaine Kane, Dr. Tlina Murray, Dr. Paul Flynn, and Dr. Carmen Keeley. And these are all members of either the School of Education or the UNESCO Child and Family Research Centre in NUI Galway. Before the research can start, we need to receive a completed parent or guardian consent form and ideally also a young person assent form. So I guess this is a gentle reminder to those of you who have not yet been able to find the time to submit these documents. You have received an email with a link to these particular documents. So perhaps you can revert to this in your email inbox and complete this as soon as possible. It is really important, we feel it's really important that we would also receive an assent form from each young person, because we want to make sure that they are fully informed about what the study will involve, and we want to hear directly from them that they are happy to participate in the study. So again, to recap, thank you for those of you who have already submitted these documents, and can I please gently ask those of you who haven't yet done so to send those to us as soon as possible. The overall research project, Crisis Coping, Living and Learning Through COVID-19, as I mentioned, is an 18-month project, which is funded by the Health Research Board and the Irish Research Council. And the project partners are the UNESCO Child and Family Research Centre and School of Education at NUI Galway. The goals of the research project are twofold. The first goal is to explore in depth the experiences of young people as they live and learn through COVID-19. And the second goal is to co-design school-based support strategies for young people that will help them to engage optimally in education for the remainder of the academic school year and for the next academic year. And we use the term co-design because the information that we gain directly from young people as part of this study will inform the development of the school-based support strategies. So we hope that when we ground our support strategies in the real life experiences of young people, that they will be much more likely to be meaningful and relevant and effective for supporting young people in secondary school. This slide provides a brief roadmap to the stages of the research study, which you have kindly agreed to participate in. The aim of the research study is to explore what life is like for young people at the moment. And by this, we mean we're really interested in finding out what is working well and maybe what is not working quite so well for young people. What are the supports that they are currently receiving, or what supports might they need? The start date for this research study is the weeks of the 3rd of May and the 10th of May. So we are hoping to initiate this study very, very soon. The benefits of taking part for young people would be having their voice heard in relation to what life is actually like for them at the moment. We know that an awful lot of research that has been conducted and published during the pandemic period has represented the voice of adults, parents or teachers or support providers. And there isn't so much information coming from young people themselves. So we want to capture the voice of young people as they experience the pandemic. Another benefit is that it gives young people the chance to get involved in developing supports. And these will be school-based supports, which will be rolled out in a number of schools across the country. So their role in this is to directly inform and guide the development of supports for young people. Another benefit is increased self-awareness through self-monitoring. Young people often find that when they're asked to reflect on their experiences and their feelings and their mood states, for example, at particular points in their lives, that it helps them to gain some perspective on exactly what is happening. It helps them to become more self-aware, and this may illuminate the positive aspects of their lives, or it might actually highlight what they need in order to support them better. So through self-monitoring and through thinking about what is going on for you at any particular point in time, it leads to the increased levels of self-awareness, which can lead to positive change for people. Another benefit of taking part is an incentive of €50 gift card. And that's appearing quite strangely there on my slide, apologies. So each participant, if they meet the threshold of 75% completion of the real-time measures, will receive a €50 gift card as a thank you for committing to the study. Okay, looking at the stages of the research, the first stage is baseline survey. And this is completed by both parents and the young person themselves. The next stage is the young person taking part in the real-time data collection phase. This takes place over 7 days. And the final stage of the research study is the exit survey, which is completed on day 8 by the young person alone. So I will explore these in more detail in a couple of minutes' time. Looking at stage 1, first of all, and this is the baseline survey stage. A link to the baseline survey will be sent via text from an automated number to both parents and the young person. Now, of course, we know that privacy and security are extremely important to everyone, and this is why we want to reassure you that the automated texts are generated by a virtual number. So it's not a real mobile phone number, it's one that has been created specifically for the study, and it will be deactivated immediately after the study is completed. We also want you to be aware that only the research team will have access to that virtual number, which generates the text. And we also want you to know that only the research team will have access to your mobile phone numbers, and these records will be destroyed again immediately after the study is completed. The parent baseline survey will ask questions relating to your child's home and school environment, and they'll also ask you how your child typically copes with challenges or problems. The young person baseline survey is slightly broader in that it'll ask about their current well-being, it'll ask about their social supports in their lives, and how they cope with challenges or problems. In relation to the social support aspect, here we're going to be asking young people questions like, do you have a person in your life who you can count on for advice or for practical help, or just simply to make you feel happy and accepted? It's really important for you to be aware that the baseline survey is the longest measure that is used in the research study. It will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to complete. Everything else is much shorter. So we want you to know that this is the longest part. Subsequent measures will be much, much quicker and won't involve as much thinking time. Here you'll see a number of screenshots taken from a pilot of the baseline questionnaire or survey. So you will see that at the start of the survey, you will have some general instructions as to how to engage with it. It's really important that parents and young people would read through these instructions carefully, because they will give you guidance as to how to respond to the various items of the survey. So you'll see that one of the initial questions is for the young person baseline survey is, what age are you? So you're going to type in your response there in corresponding to whatever age you are. The next question is a question asking about gender, and the options are female, male, non-binary, or prefer not to say. So in this case, the person who's actually a member of the research team as part of the piloting selected male. So you would select this answer by just clicking on that particular option. Sometimes the responses to the questions will involve drop-down menus, or sometimes they will involve clicking or tapping on a particular response option, or in other cases, they will involve typing in your answers. And also a number of items will involve a slider scale. In order to use this, you simply tap on the slider and then move it along the scale, finishing up wherever you think that the answer is most relevant for you. There's also another screenshot there in the center of the baseline questionnaire for young people. So it's asking how you have felt over the last 2 weeks. And the first item is, I felt happy and in good form. Response options are all of the time, most of the time, more than half the time, less than half the time, some of the time, or at no time. And you'll see that the response that was provided there was more than half of the time. Okay, so hopefully you've got a sense of what the baseline survey questions will look like and how you would go about responding to the various items. The second stage of the study involves the daily real-time questions for young people. So in this phase of the research, the young person will be asked to complete real-time questions 4 times per day over a period of 7 days. And we have set the threshold to 75% of these to be completed. We feel that this is reasonable and realistic and achievable for most people, and it is very important, and we're urging each young person to try to complete as many of the sets of questions as they possibly can. In terms of the 4 times per day, a text including a link to the online questions will be sent at 4 different time points: in the early morning, at lunchtime, after school, and in the late evening before 9 o'clock. But beyond that, the specific times are randomly generated by our computer system. So everybody will have different times for receipt of the text messages, but they will be sometime within those broad time frames. The links to the questions will be sent via the automated text, and we're encouraging every young person to save the number to their mobile or into their phone book. And this simply means that they'll be clear as to who the text is from, and it won't look like it's a suspicious text. And we recommend that you would save it under the name of the NUIG research study or crisis coping, or using any kind of descriptor that makes sense to you. It's really important that you would try to answer the questions as soon as you can after you receive the text message. Now, of course, we recognize that the second text, and that's the one that is sent around lunchtime, might be a bit tricky for you if you're in class, for example. So if this is the case, it is absolutely acceptable if you will return to complete this set of questions, once you're out of class. So we are, again, I suppose we're asking you to complete it within an hour of receipt of the text, if this is possible at all. But we absolutely recognize that sometimes that second text of the day might be a little bit difficult to get to. If you are in school and you think that potentially receiving a text message might be problematic, we can provide you with a letter which will indicate that you are participating in the research study and that it's important that you would receive the text message. So if you could link in with us and send us an email if you'd like to receive one of those letters, we would be delighted to accommodate you. We're asking every young person to try to answer the questions as honestly as possible and in as much detail as possible, because we want to learn as much as we can about your daily experiences and about how you're coping with the various challenges or problems that may or may not be happening. And we also want to know about the positive and the negative events that are happening for you in your everyday lives over this 7-day period. We're very grateful to the young people who have already signed up to take part in the study. We recognize that this does take time. It takes effort and commitment on your part, but we feel that it is really beneficial, and we feel that it is important that you would, I suppose, have your voice heard in relation to what life is like. So we're very, very grateful for you for committing to this particular phase of the research study. This is a screenshot of what the text message will look like on your mobile phone. So it'll be personalized in that it will have your name, and you'll recognize that the name of Carmen is shown there. And Carmen is a member of the research team who was involved in the piloting or the testing of this phase of the research. So it provides you with a link to the second set of questions for the day, and it will bring you directly to an online survey platform, which is called REDCap. If there's any problem with the link, you can just copy and paste the link to the online set of questions into your browser. And it also states that if you're in class and you can't answer at the moment, please use the link within the next hour. And this is just in recognition of the fact that it may be a bit tricky for you to respond immediately to this particular text. Okay, so here are again a couple of additional screenshots to give you a sense of what the real-time questions will look like over the 7-day period. Again, you'll see that most questions have an instruction bar at the top to guide you as to how to respond to the question. So for example, you'll see that the first one is, where are you right now? So we're interested in finding out, are you at home, at school, are you in a public place, are you involved in sports or music or some other activities? And the next question is, who are you with right now? So for example, at the time at which you receive the text message and click into the survey link, are you alone or are you with others? You'll also see that you'll be asked some questions about your feelings. How are you feeling at that particular point in time? And a number of different feeling words are presented, such as sad, angry, happy, and so on. And we want you to pick a rating from 1 to 5. 1 means not at all, 3 means a little, and 5 means very. So if you're feeling very sad at that particular point in time, you would tap on the 5 option or perhaps the 4 option. And if you're not feeling sad at all, you would be selecting an option on the other end, the opposite end of the scale. For example, 1, not at all, or perhaps 2. So this would be the general pattern of responding to the mood-related questions. You'll also see, and I'll just move my talking head down a little bit, and you'll also see that there are some questions related to support. So since the last text message, have you received any particular types of support and from whom? So for example, did anybody give you advice, or did anybody help you feel happy and accepted, or did anybody give you practical help? Okay, and for this question, you're able to select multiple people. So it's a multi-response option here. And when you're finished, when you reach the end of the item for this set of questions, you click on submit, and that is the end of that particular set of questions until you receive the next text message. The third stage of the research study involves the exit survey, which is completed by young people. And this exit survey will be received on day 8. It comprises of a series of short questions, basically asking about what the previous 7 days were like for you. So it's going to prompt you to reflect or to think back over the previous 7 days where you were answering daily questions, and to think about what went well and what didn't go so well. And basically, I suppose, really what the experience was like for you. And the link to this exit survey, which again is very, very short, it's nowhere near as long as the baseline survey, that will be sent to you by text from our automated number. Okay, so that is a guide to the 3 main phases of the research study, and I hope that that potentially addressed any questions that you might have about what involvement in the study will look like. It's really, really important that this study is conducted safely and ethically, and to make sure that everybody is looked after. We want you to know that if any of the questions cause discomfort, if they make you feel uncomfortable or distressed or upset, they can be skipped. Now, we are appealing to you to answer as many of the questions as you possibly can, because we want to get the fullest possible picture of what your lives are like. But remember that it is possible to skip questions if they are in any way causing discomfort. Excuse me. As I already mentioned, the automated number for sending the text is controlled by the research team only. It's a virtual number that was created specifically for this study, and the number will be deactivated immediately after the study is terminated. All collected data will be stored securely in line with GDPR requirements. Names and personal details will be changed. We will be producing a number of reports or research papers or presentations from the findings of this research project, but we want you to know that all identifying or potentially identifying details will be removed. So it will not be possible for any parent or guardian or any young person to be identified from this study. It's also very important that everyone would remember and would be aware that they can withdraw from the study at any time. So if something isn't working well for you, or if for any reason at all you would like to discontinue participation in the project, you can do so without any consequence. All you need to do is send an email to us, to the research team, and this is our email address, crisiscoping@nuigalway.ie. You don't even need to provide us with a reason for why you would like to withdraw. That option is always there for you. But again, we would really appeal to you to try to stick with it if at all possible. And we are delighted that you have committed to it, and we hope that you will have a positive experience as you take part in this research study. Excuse me. Finally, if you have any energy left at the end of this piece of research, there are future phases of the research project, and these consist of one-to-one interviews with parents. And some of you parents or guardians have already indicated that you will be interested in taking part in these interviews, and we're extremely grateful for these commitments. We are also conducting future research with young people, which will involve a photo-based study. So we will be asking young people to document their daily lives over a short period using photos, using visual imagery, rather than through answering questions involving text. So perhaps some of you, when you get to the end of this phase of the research, will be interested in taking part in the photo-based study, and we will be in contact with you in the future to check if you would like to be a participant. Okay, so that brings me to the end of our information session in relation to the crisis coping study. I hope that this has answered any questions that you might have in relation to the expectations for participation. I'd like to reiterate that we are extremely grateful that you have agreed to take part in our study. We will support you as much as possible through the study, and please feel free to get in contact with us at any stage using the email address crisiscoping@nuigalway.ie. We hope that taking part in our research study will be a really positive experience for you. We hope that you will gain insights into your lives, and you might even develop additional skills through it. And most importantly, for the young people in the study, it is the chance to have your voice heard about what life is like as you live and learn through COVID-19. Thanks very much for listening. Take care.